Hey Theo, this is Greg from Indiana. So me and my friends went out and caught your show. Dude, you did phenomenal. I actually just wanted to call and tell you, so I was at work the other day, and I just been kind of in this like rut at work. It's not a bad job, but I just really want to get out of it. So I was catching up on some of your podcasts, and you said something that like resonated with me. You know, you said, nothing changes if nothing changes. I thought about it, and I went home and I applied for a job I'm probably not qualified for, but I was like, I'll take a shot. And the next day I get a call from them. I have the interview. It goes well. She says she's going to set me up with in-person interview. Never even had it. They emailed me a few days later, and I got the job. So now I'm going to be doing a job that I think I will appreciate more and enjoy more, and I'll be making double the money that I'm making now.
Gang. Bro, that's awesome, man. That's really great. Congratulations for trying something new. Yeah, it's crazy to sometimes think like, what can happen if we decide, I'm going to see what happens when I decide that I am qualified. What happens when I decide for myself that I'm going to do something different? You know, one thing, Jocko Willink was in here last week, and one thing that's really been pressing with me that we discussed is staying motivated. And I have been finding myself more motivated, even when I do not feel like doing something, to do it. That my brain doesn't dictate how. My brain does not get to choose. My brain can feel a certain way, but it's not going to choose how I behave all the time. I just can't let it do it anymore. I'm going to have setbacks, I know. But if I'm feeling bad, that doesn't mean I'm doing bad. That doesn't mean I am bad. That doesn't mean that I can't still take some action. Because nothing changes and nothing changes, man.
You cannot change your life unless you change something. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. No matter what it is. Many times you say to yourself, I gotta lose weight, I'm too fat. And then you know what? During the day you eat at night, and then next day you get mad at yourself. Well, what do you want? What do you want? You gotta change something.
You want to do this because you think that it's good for you, because you believe that it's good for you, because you care about yourself. You care about Stephen and his body and his mind. You want him to have a long and healthy life, and the same for everybody else that's listening. They want to have good outcomes from the things that they do in life. You don't need to lambast yourself because you don't do a thing that is perfectly designed to make you feel good. Okay, like you missed 3 days in a row. We get back on the horse, we go again. Discipline.
I never forget one time I was running by a graveyard when I was just trying to I was fat. And I ran by a graveyard and I looked out there and I have all these epiphanies, man. I have all these moments of it's crazy, man, of just thought. Cause I'm always by myself. I'm always in deep thought about how to be better. And I look out there, I'm like, man, I wonder how many of you motherfuckers in there just are so upset with how you lived your life. And just regret how you lived it. And I'm running at 300-pound man thinking, man, don't die like this, bro. Don't die like this. So people wonder where it comes from me. It comes from such deep thought of trying to see what this is all about. What is this life all about? What am I all about? Why am I here? You know, I had to find purpose. And my suffering, it had a purpose. It had a purpose.
You know, we'll sit around forever wondering, well, what if I was a dog catcher? Would I be the best? What if I was what if I worked on at avalanche, searching for avalanches and predicting them? Or what is it called? A geologist. Who would would I be able to do it? You don't know. Until you say, yeah, I'm gonna take action. Nothing changes if nothing changes, man. And I'm not preaching at you. I'm just, I just want to remind you, because I've spent a lot of time in my life sitting around wanting things to change and not being able to make them change and not thinking I could. And I wish somebody had told me that earlier sometimes. That in order for something to change, there needs to be change.
I think people think it's a magic trick. They snap their fingers, they make a decision, and their life is different overnight. I think there's a lack of appreciation of everything that goes into the moment where you change your mind and you do something different, and then all of the work that goes in to that rebuilding phase and the aftermath of making that decision that ultimately creates the new life. I think people are impatient. They want results too quickly. They don't appreciate the amount of hard work that goes into actually crafting the life of your desires.
So I started my YouTube channel when in 2016. I was working at Target at the time. And I started a YouTube channel because I wanted to do something creative, right? And I wanted to build something that I guess could generate money, right? But I wasn't thinking about it in I was just thinking about it like as a side gig at the time. But I just wanted a creative outlet so that life didn't feel so monotonous.
A friendly reminder that in 3 generations, everyone who knew us will be dead, including the people whose opinions stopped you from doing what you wanted all along. Imagine that someone you know achieves every dream and hits every goal they have. Years later, they get old and die. 2 years after that, how much do you care? About as much as everyone else will if you accomplish your goals and dreams. Do it for you.
You know, if you're in your 20s right now and you're listening to this, stop thinking you've got unlimited time. Stop doing it. You don't have unlimited time. You think it's harmless to keep chasing women and wasting money and avoiding responsibility. But one day, you'll wake up and you'll realize you've got no leverage. You've got no power, absolutely no clarity, and no way to get those years back. One day you will wake up and you will be 40.
I'm proud of you, man. I'm happy for you, bro. That's very exciting to hear. And that makes me feel good. You know, it makes me feel good. And thank you guys for coming out in Indianapolis. And I needed to hear that somebody came out and had a good time with that show. Because that one and the Detroit one were the two this week that I felt, I don't know. I just felt a little disconnected, man. You know, I think it just breaks my heart sometimes that something like as beautiful as human beings are, that we're dying because of something as like dirty and preventable and sad as drugs and as addiction. You know, it just breaks my heart. It just breaks my damn heart, bro. It breaks my heart.
Don't wake up every day being consumed in everybody else's thoughts and their intentions. Live your life and make your mark. God put you on this earth to do something significant. You're not supposed to be another person that lived and died and didn't do anything significant.
Most guys don't have anything that they're even decent at other than, consuming content.
Yep.
So once you go out into the real world and experience that negative emotion, the pain of training, the delayed gratification, the sore, the sore muscles, people will actually want to spend time with you. That's how you develop the social circle, is like actually do things in real life and then just invite people to the things you've been doing. It's that simple, but people just don't take action on that.
And it just makes me want to work harder to be part of the solution in the world. You know, it just makes me want to take care of myself so that I can be there for somebody else if they need it. Not even know if I can be, but just so that there's a chance that I can. You know, it just makes me sad, man. But knowing that there's people out there who are making changes and who are coming out and enjoying the show, that's exactly what I need to hear from me.
You will be stuck working a job that you hate with nothing to show for it except memories that don't even matter. That you constantly think about and it leaves you with no air in your lungs. This pain, you know it. You know what that pain is when you think about, what once was. But yet every hour you waste now is a debt you're going to have to pay later. You should be building something. Skills, discipline, financial stability, wisdom, a backbone.
So I think about death all the time because it's probably the central theme. It's probably the thing that I think the most about, and I think that influences how I see time and also how I think how it influences agency. Like what actions I'm willing to take despite the judgment of others. And so a lot of times, and it might be because I have more insecurity than everyone, that I think like, man, I want to do this thing, and then I hear all these other voices of reasons why I shouldn't do it, or why somebody else will say like that's bad, or you're bad, or like that's wrong, whatever. And so I think I've had to come up with a lot of these devices to get around my own insecurities, to take action despite those insecurities. And the biggest one that I think about is that it doesn't matter whether I achieve all of my goals or I don't achieve all of the goals. In 3 generations, I'll be forgotten, and the only people who were naysaying against me will also be dead.
I was lucky that my job was basically so and my pay was so low that I was able to, hate it so much. But for the other people, the problem is they're saved from the negative emotion with the modern comforts. If someone's a great listener, they don't even have to have much of the mastery in a certain realm. Just be good at listening, be a human being, and people will want to spend time with you. But the average person consumes content for like 6 hours a day. The average young person is on their phone for like 8 hours a day. They're subhumans. You can't interact with them. It's like you've got good eye contact, you've got good listening skills. The average young person, if you go and meet one of your fans, it's like they basically like almost legally aren't even human anymore. You'll be speaking to them, their brain turns off. It's weird. It's like you see someone's brain literally just snap and go off, and they start thinking about Subway Surfers, GTA gameplay. It's like their brain is so that they can't even connect with you. That's it. That's like literally like it's like having Google glasses or something. They're just watching like some gameplay, like Sneako's live stream or some shit, like whilst talking to you. And so if someone's like that same person's wondering like, oh, I'm so lonely. No, people aren't being social.
You could be rich, man, but you cannot erase the work ethic part. There is no getting around. Ain't no elevator to the top. You got to take the stairs. The elevator don't go to the top, man. Not in the world of success. You gotta take the stairs. Y'all gotta start getting gritty, man.
Once you see how everything really works, how broken it all is, you cannot unsee it. Everything feels fake. The economy is a scam. Inflation is gutting families. People are more isolated than ever before. No one's honest. No one's fulfilled. And there's a deep apathy baked into everything now. That's why I'm here. This isn't a content hobby for me. This is me refusing to stay silent. This is me using what I have left to build something real, because the clock is ticking.
If you let their standards become your bar for success, you can never be great. You'll never find out what you're actually capable of. You will live an average life with an average income, with an average everything, and that might be okay for you. That might be what you want, but that's not going to create greatness.
But so many people aren't willing to chip away at that stone that is them, to start chipping off those rough edges.
That's the fear. The fear is never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
Yep.
I could have been great.
God didn't bring you in this world to be average. God didn't bring you in this world to wake up and die one day and just be another person that lived and died and didn't do anything significant in this world.
Hey man, look, let me ask you a quick question. Why the hell do you expect different results when you're literally doing what everyone else is doing? Monkey see, monkey do, right? Man, that's some losers. You're the same person that claims you want to be great, but yet you're doing what the average person does. And one day you're going to wake up, look yourself in the mirror, and be sick because you're going to realize that you're just like everybody else.
Why is it so hard to make genuine change happen in our lives? People want to change. They want to do different things. Why is it so hard?
I think the biggest difficulty in change is making a different choice. I think about the New Year's resolutions. Everybody's very clear about what their intention is, what they want, whatever that is. But if you keep making the same choices, you're going to keep doing the same things. You're going to keep creating the same experiences. You're going to keep feeling the same emotions. And your biology and your neurocircuitry and your chemistry and your hormones and even your gene expression is going to stay the same because you're the same. But keep thinking the same way, and keep acting the same way, keep feeling the same way.
In tribes and other cultures all across the world, there's a coming of man ritual. The boy leaves the tribe, goes and gets the lion, comes back a man, goes and hunts the elk, comes back a man. There's this thing that is a definitive turn in his age from boyhood to manhood. And in America, we don't have that. And Chris pointed out, even in The Lion King, it's a great example of this, right? Mufasa dies, and Simba goes on this great journey and acquires friends along the way, experiences adversity, develops enemies, almost dies a few times, comes out the other side, king of the pride. For me, my dad's death and the months that led up to that of pain and suffering and anxiety, I think were the parts of me that were still a kid I had to familiarize myself with, but they couldn't necessarily stay with me if I was going to endure that experience. So I think that, truthfully, I think I became a man on the other side of that. But what I learned was my nervous system's threshold for stress was a lot greater than I thought it was. Dude, there were nights, man, where you're constantly on edge when someone is that sick.
And do it over and over again. Those circuits in the brain ultimately become hardwired. And the emotions that are a response to someone or something, even your own thoughts, get conditioned subconsciously as a program into the body. So 95% of who we are by the middle of our life is an unconscious set of thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that are automatically programmed into our biology. So the first step to change is not thinking positively. You got to become conscious of those unconscious thoughts when you decide to make a different choice and it doesn't feel familiar. The thought that says, start tomorrow, it's too hard, just do it anyway, go ahead and make that choice, do the same thing. You're not good enough, you'll never change, you're too much like your parents, I failed last time. You have to be able to become so conscious of those unconscious thoughts that you would never go unconscious to that thought ever again, and that's change. You'd have to catch yourself, how you speak and how you act. If you want to be happy and you're blaming and you're complaining and you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're judging everyone, those behaviors are not going to make you happy, they're actually going to make you unhappy.
But somehow, when we interact with ourselves, it's, you got to be better, you got to be better, you got to be better. Instead of, how do I understand myself? And then all of that changes just by the nature of understanding. And in emotions, what you'll hear a lot of in the sphere is emotional regulation, emotional management. And this weird thing happens in our brain that it's like, we are either controlled by our emotions or we're controlling our emotions. And neither of them lead to emotional clarity. One, in repression, like right now, if I said to you, stop feeling all of your emotions, I'm going to ask you to try to do it. Stop feeling all of your emotions. Your muscles constricted. Your face just got red. That is stress. That is what stress is.
Yep.
So self-management of your emotions is a tightening down of the system.
So you got to become so conscious of those unconscious habituations that you wouldn't go unconscious and behave that way. And then, of course, you got to look at those emotions that are pretty much chemical residue from the past, and decide, does this lack, does this suffering, does this pain belong in my future? And that process of becoming so conscious that we don't go unconscious is the process of change. And how many times do we have to forget until we stop forgetting and start remembering? That's the moment of change. So the hard part about change is when you decide to make a different choice, get ready, it's going to feel uncomfortable. There's going to be uncertainty. You're not going to be able to predict the next moment. It's going to feel unfamiliar. So if the body has been conditioned to be the mind, then the servant is the master. So the body starts sending information back to the brain to think a certain thought so that you make the same choice, that you do the same thing, you create the same
comfortable,
experience.
this is familiar.
Get back to the same feeling of suffering. Oh, that feels so much better than the uncertainty of the unknown. So going from the old self to the new self and crossing that river literally is a neurological, it's a biological, it's a chemical, it's a hormonal, it's a genetic death of the old self. That's the phoenix.
A lot of people wait for perfect conditions to start, but don't realize that starting is the perfect condition. But thinking that you're going to have this one shot, this one pick of this one opportunity, this one podcast, this one whatever, that's going to take you all the way. But it's the habit of biting that takes you all the way, not where you choose to bite the first time. Waiting to begin never got anyone anywhere.
Lighting itself on fire, and most people would rather cling to that familiar place than take a chance and possibility. That void, that vacuum actually is the perfect place to create. And we discovered this, that
that the brain changes the most when you get to that point where you think you can't go any further and you want to quit. If you go past that point, that is the unknown. Now, the unknown has always been wired in our biology, that the uncertainty of the unknown is always a scary place. Is that a tiger in the bushes, or is that just a shadow? You know, so the unknown becomes a very scary place when we're living in survival. So most people never take that chance and possibility. But if a person's actually taught how to execute in the unknown and there's nothing scary there, and they can apply the same principle and say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? And a belief is just the thought you keep thinking over and over again. So what is the voice in my head that I want to program my brain into thinking and believing?
That every day you wake up and every day you smell like because you can't wash your body well, and your skin's messed up because your health's so bad, and you can't put your clothes on right. You need help with that. You need help, like when I was doing, I need help wiping my. That makes you feel good? Nothing I can say to you. If every day you wake up with this, see, people are haunted, but they obviously like horror films because they keep watching the same fucking movie. I don't like horror films. A lot of people like horror films, so I don't say much to them. I say exactly what I said to you, right there, because I was once you. I didn't like horror films, so I changed it. Some people are just, they become, like you said, it gets real small when you're lazy and you're fat. Your will is so small that they don't have any, and you can't give it to them.
You are the general that is in charge of your life, in charge of the war of your life. Some people talk about being the CEO of your life. I'm telling you, you are the general of your life because it's a war. It's a war going on. The battle that's going on in your life to be stronger and smarter and faster and better. So that means as the general, you're the one who decides what you do and how you're going to do it. You come up with a strategy. It's on you. You create the tactics. You, as the general in charge, you make the plan and you give the orders to the troops.
What behaviors am I going to demonstrate in my life if I'm going to not behave this way around this person or around this circumstance and I want to behave a different way? Let me rehearse in my mind, close my eyes, and get really clear on how I'm going to respond or behave in this circumstance. And the act of mental rehearsal literally grows circuits in the brain. Now your brain's looking like you've already done it. Your brain is no longer a record of the past. It's being conditioned and mapped into the future. So now you have the circuitry in place. So if you keep practicing that, the hardware becomes more automatic. It becomes more of a software program, and you start behaving that way. And then the biggest challenge then is, okay, if I'm not going to feel suffering, and I'm not going to feel pain, and I'm not going to feel judgment, but I want to feel grateful for my life, can I teach my body emotionally?
You are also the troops. You are also the troops. In your life, you have to both plan and you have to execute. The ideas that you come up with as the general in charge, you're also the troops that have to make those plans happen. Just like on the battlefield. Sure, the general comes up with a plan, but it's the soldiers that fight. For you as a person, you have to do both. We often forget that. We don't remember that we actually have to execute the plan.
What my future will feel like before it happens. So once you start conditioning your body to an elevated emotion, and we tend to see that the heart-centered emotions tend to be the ones that produce the most dramatic changes in our biology. And the body's so objective, it really doesn't know the difference between the real-life experience that's creating that emotion and the emotion that you're creating by thought alone. And the body starts getting lifted in a lot of ways. So keep thinking differently, keep acting differently, keep feeling differently. That's your personality. Then your personal reality begins to change. And with people who cross that river, there's new opportunities, there's new experiences, there's new events that take place in their life. So that's what we teach.
And that's why it's not about what everyone else will think, because when I'm on stage making that presentation, the only person whose voice I'll hear is mine. and I will know if I have done everything in my control to be prepared. What's interesting is that when you start defining your own success that way, it actually starts to feel under your own control. But the downside is you realize that you can do very few things. And then all of a sudden life feels very short because you're like, shoot, there's like not that many things I can do before I die if I'm going to actually do my best.
Small steps. I remember advice to a friend that was going through a period of low mood and was feeling bad about not being able to get out of bed and wasn't able to show up and all of this stuff. And I was like, dude, you need to literally see every single micro step. Like, you're in bed. You have gone to the bathroom a couple of times. You haven't seen sunlight in a few days. You've been ordering Uber Eats to the door and sort of looking at the floor as the delivery guy arrives. Like, you need to think about getting out of bed in the most rudimentary steps possible. So what's the first thing you need to do? Well, you need to pull the covers off you.
If you start by not lying to yourself, and then you start saying those things, then you start not lying to other people. And I think if you can decrease the friction between what you really think and what you say, it starts to create some virtuous cycle outside of you that starts to orient your behavior so that you actually start doing what you really think.
So is the issue that people, when they want change, they don't change deeply enough? They're just looking at, well, if I do this particular new physical habit, that will be able to change things, but the underlying currents that are driving that behavior are always going to come in and then take over, despite the fact that you don't want to eat sugar anymore, or you want to be more polite with your partner, or you want to be more... It's too surface level with a lot of the change that tries to be attempted.
Yeah, I think that people, unfortunately, they have to get knocked to our lowest level sometimes, where you're no longer inside the jar. When you're inside the jar, you can't read the label. You got to get so uncomfortable that you could actually see yourself.
When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And I think pain moves people far, far more effectively than pleasure does. Like, the easy way to prove it is, like, point a gun at someone's head and you have absolute compliance and they will do what they need to do, right? Automatically, just like that. Like, death is the great motivator and the gun just reminds you. And so I think that if you can create the figurative gun to your head of the pain that you're experiencing, and then I'm a big fan of future casting out negative scenarios. So people talk about like positive visualization. I prefer negative visualization, which is, what if I keep doing what I'm currently doing for the next 10 years? What will my life look like then? That usually takes my current pain and then just magnifies it. And then that allows me to get my action threshold high enough that it goes over the edge so that I can take that first move. And so if you know what the inputs outputs are of what you need to do, the guy who has the little quote on his wall, and you figure out whatever fuel you've got, not the one you wish you had, but the one you've got, and you use that to do the first input, you've crossed the line.
Right? And so that tragedy, that crisis, that disease, the diagnosis, the loss, it's got to be so severe that you finally look at yourself and say, maybe it's me. Oh my God, could it possibly be me? But you're looking at yourself kind of through the eyes of someone else because you don't feel like you in that moment. You're so uncomfortable that you can see yourself. That concept is called metacognition, right? So a lot of times people wait for that crisis or the diagnosis or the betrayal to go, oh my God, I got to really change because I'm really unhappy, or I can't blame that person or my past or my circumstance because and nothing's working here. I got to really start making those changes. So when they see themselves separate from their program, they're becoming conscious of their unconscious self. That is the first step to change. Now, I say you can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, which most people like to do, or you can learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration, right? So could you be defined by a vision of the future? And could you get up from your morning practice?
Judge yourself against no one but yourself. You're racing against no one but yourself. And when you continuously think that when you compare yourself to other people, you are losing the race. And this race is you against you, man. So don't get caught up in all this bullshit out here, the social media, and this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm doing, and this is how great I am. Leave all that behind, man. Worry about yourself, worry about what you're doing, and worry about where you're going, and only where you're going to be your best self.
There's really a time in history to know how, and I've been at this long enough, Chris, to know that 20 years ago, people didn't hear it like they hear it now. The information is readily available, and people are realizing, kind of, if I have this dream, if I have this goal, how bad do I want it? And if they really want it, and we've all done this, You sit down and you say, what would it be like to be super healthy, super wealthy, super in love, super mystical, transcendental, whatever it is. Like, you ask that question and your brain gets really creative. It starts combining circuits in new ways, and you start getting this vision of the future, this possibility that you actually put yourself in this future reality.